Episode 1. The Two Sarahs. The woman they exploited and the woman who built an empire. Two black women, two different centuries, two different worlds, but both named Sarah. One was exploited for her body, and the other one transformed her body into a blueprint for wealth. And their stories tell the entire truth about black feminine power, how the world treated it, how black women reclaimed it, and how it shapes culture today. This is episode 1 of Black Women Who Built the Blueprint. Hi, I'm Solomon Pratt, executive health coach and master trainer. And this series is dedicated to honoring black women whose brilliance, resilience, and strategy built the very foundations the world still stands on today. Welcome to Black Women Who Built the Blueprint, brought to you by Solomon Fitness World, where strength meets elegance. Part 1. Sarah Bartman, the woman the world displayed but couldn't break. Her beginning. Sarah Bartman was born in South Africa in 1789. She lost her parents at a young age and spent her early childhood working on farms. Before moving to Cape Town, some reports say she married in her teenage years, but her husband was killed during one of the colonial raids. When Sarah reached Cape Town, she eventually found work as a maid on a farm of two Dutch brothers, Peter and Hendrik Caesars. She was a young Khoi woman with a body shape the Western world had never seen before. Her figure, her hips, and her curves became a fascination to European colonizers. It wasn't before long the Caesars saw an opportunity to profit from her. They first displayed her at the Cape Town main hospital to draw in crowds. That attention caught the eye of Alexander Dunlop, a military surgeon and a friend of the Caesars. Dunlop believed Sarah could make them even more money in Europe, so he convinced the Caesars, especially Hendrik, to take her overseas. A contract was prepared for Sarah to sign, but she could not read or write. No one knows exactly what the document said or whether she understood it at all. The story claimed she would work as a servant for 5 years, but displayed for entertainment and receive a small percentage of her earnings and be allowed to return home afterward. But the truth is, Sarah had no real understanding of what she was agreeing to. She was taken from her homeland under the promise of opportunity, but instead, she was turned into a tool for profit. Exposure and exploitation. In 1810, when Sarah Bartman was taken to London and later Paris, they displayed her like a sideshow attraction. First in circus shows, then in private exhibitions. A living exhibition. They nicknamed her the Hottentot Venus, a term that is now recognized as deeply demeaning. Crowds came to stare at her. Scientists wrote false theories about her body. Artists exaggerated her features. And society mocked the same curves the world now pays surgeons to imitate. Sarah was forced to wear revealing costumes during these shows. Men and women paid money just to look at her and paid extra to touch her. Reports showed that what happened behind the curtains went far beyond touching. She was groped, poked, and violated in sexual perversion. Her figure was fetishized by men, while many women, driven by jealousy, came to show simply to see the African woman they believed was attracting their man's attention. To some, she was exotic. To others, she was a threat. And to many Europeans, her body was treated as something animalistic, not even human. Sarah Bartman became a spectacle across England. Her unique physical features stood in stark contrast to European beauty standards, and it sparked the obsession, curiosity, and cruelty. She even influenced fashion. During the 19th century, European women began using padded bustles, dresses with humps in the back, trying to mimic Sarah's natural shape because they believed it would help keep their husband's attention. Sarah was closely monitored by the Caesars the entire time, and when she refused to allow inappropriate touching, they threatened her with a whip right in front of the audience. Far from home, surrounded by strangers, with no support, no voice, Sarah had no choice but to endure the degrading treatment. Sarah wasn't honored as a woman. She wasn't valued, nurtured, or protected. The people around her treated her with less care than they give an animal, more like a fetish or an object, instead of a human being who deserved dignity and love. But what history often forgets is that she carried herself with dignity even in midst of humiliation. Sarah Bartman wasn't a caricature. She wasn't a myth. She was a human being with a heart, a story, and a voice. Even the bustle dresses of the 1800s, those curved padded designs built to shapen the hips, were inspired by Sarah's natural silhouette. And today, the same curves are recreated through surgery. The body they mocked became the body the world now desires. Part 3, Sarah Breedlove. Madam C.J. Walker, the woman who transformed pain into power. Her origins. Sarah Breedlove was born December 23rd in Delta, Louisiana, a small plantation community in Madison Parish. In 1867, just 2 years after slavery legally ended, she lost both of her parents by the age 7. She was married at 14, a mother at 17, and a widow at 20. She washed clothes for $1.50 a week just to survive. But survival wasn't in her destiny. Elevation was. Her awakening. Before Madam C.J. Walker became a legend, she worked under Annie Malone, a brilliant and often overlooked pioneer who opened the door for her. But Madam took the foundation and built an empire that transformed beauty, business, and black womanhood forever. And even though I'm giving Madam C.J. Walker her moment today, I want you to know this. None of this history is complete without honoring Annie Malone, the quiet genius who built her own empire first. I'll be giving her a full episode later in this series because her story deserves its own spotlight. Madam C.J. Walker began dealing with several scalp issues. Instead of accepting defeat, she studied, experimented, practiced, and curated. She turned her own struggle into a solution for millions of women. The birth of an empire. Sarah Breedlove became Madam C.J. Walker, the first documented female self-made millionaire in the United States. She developed hair care formulas, hair products, built factories, opened schools, created jobs, and trained an entire generation of Black women to earn income and stand on their own feet. Her wealth wasn't inherited, it wasn't gift, it was built. We talk about Madam C.J. Walker's empire, but not just talking about products. We're talking about the spaces that she built, from the iconic mansion in New York to the property she established in Indianapolis, all the way to the historic Walker Theater, which I visited myself to truly understand the legacy she left behind. The direct sales revolution. But here's the part the world rarely teaches. Madam C.J. Walker revolutionized the entire direct selling industry. Decades before Avon, before Mary Kay, before Amway, before the Girl Scouts cookie model, Walker created one of the first organized sales force of women in America. She trained them, certified them, and gave them uniforms. She held massive conventions, and she taught them not just how to sell products, but how to build wealth. Agents, the Walker agents, became some of the first financially independent Black women in the country. Corporate America copied the structure but never gave her credit. Black women built the blueprint. The world just rebranded it. Madam C.J. Walker has a team building superpower, and I want to discuss it with you. Her legacy on leadership. Madam C.J. Walker didn't just create a business, she created an ecosystem, a system of education, empowerment, and ownership. She held national leadership conferences, developed marketing campaigns. Let me tell you why Madam C.J. Walker is one of my top three favorite entrepreneurs of all time. It wasn't because of her products, it wasn't because of her formulas, it was because of her coachability. Madam C.J. Walker had a strength that most people today don't have, and became a philanthropist who donated to schools, HBCUs, and civil rights causes. She built wealth and lifted others with it too. She didn't let ego block her elevation. She surrounded herself with people who were better than her in different areas. Her husband was a newspaper man, skilled in advertising, storytelling, and promotion. He had connections she didn't have, and he used them to help her expand. Her three brothers were barbers. They understood hair science, scalp care, technique, and precision. She studied them and she learned from them. She gained structure and business discipline from Pearl College, Annie's Malone organization. She absorbed everything, the formulas, the systems, the sales process, the standards. Madam C.J. Walker didn't pretend she knew everything. She hired wisely, listened deeply, and learned quickly, and built a team that elevated her mission. That was her true superpower. Her humility, her discipline, and her ability to choose excellence. Madam C.J. Walker's health, the part history doesn't teach. But even the people we admire have blind spots. And Madam C.J. Walker had one. While she was building an empire, She wasn't building a health routine. She worked nonstop. She traveled consistently. She carried enormous stress. She gained weight under pressure. She battled hypertension and ignored her doctor warnings. She kept pushing anyway. Madam Tuesday Walker died at just 51 years old, not because she wasn't strong, but because she wasn't supported and she didn't slow down. She poured into everyone else, but never poured into herself regarding her health. And that's a pattern so many Black women are still living today. Making money, taking care of everyone else, being the backbone of their families and communities, while their own health collapses quietly in the background. Madam Tuesday Walker built an empire, but she didn't build a wellness routine. What the two Sarahs taught us. The first Sarah showed us how the world tried to control Black women's bodies. The second Sarah showed us how a Black woman controlled her own destiny and changed the world. The blueprint they left. Here's what these two women, separated by a century, taught us. Your body shape does not define your worth. You can rise above trauma and reclaim your power. You can turn pain into purpose. You can build something the world tries to copy. Your legacy can outlive your lifetime. This is the same message I teach women in my coaching program. You are not your past, and you are not your circumstances. You are not their labels. You can rebuild your confidence. You can transform your habits. You can reshape your identity. You can create a new body, a new lifestyle, and a new future. Just like the two Sarahs, you can reclaim your story. One Sarah was exploited, one Sarah exploded, but both changed the world. If you want to build your own blueprint for your strength, your femininity, your discipline, and your wellness, click the link to apply to work with me. The solid fitness world is where strength meets elegance.